Hello and welcome to the Rise Above the Grind podcast. I am your hostess, Alissa Bickar, the Consultress, here to bring you amazing people in this age of disruption where nothing's going back to normal, everybody. We all have to innovate. We have the biggest opportunity ever to take a look at things that are current challenges and turn them into opportunities. As an entrepreneur, I feel like that is the best space for all of us to learn new things and workshop ourselves and become even better. And I also get the privilege and the pleasure of meeting other fantastic people providing current leading edge value in this world. So, Denise Morrison, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here too. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, right on. We met once upon a time in an online networking room. And those rooms can sometimes be pretty flat with people talking about who they are and what they do, but you had this like sparkle to me. I was
Oh,
like, I need to talk to this lady because, it sounded like she shares some core philosophies about treating yourself well and how to identify yourself opportunities to move forward more confidently, more comfortably in who you are. And so what I know of you coming from the health and wellness space is like you've made a career out of being in the health industry. And then
yeah.
there was a point in time where you made a decision to pivot and take that exponentially forward. So paint us a picture about kind of where you come from, your background and your career, and like that point of disruption where you realized I'm grinding away here. There's got to be something different, and you took the matters into your own hands.
Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Okay, here we go back in time. So let's do the funny story. I've been in health and wellness and healthcare since I was a candy striper in high school.
Whoa.
And I actually just loved fitness and physical therapy and wellness and being healthy. I wasn't surrounded by very healthy family members, so this was motivating to me to find health and wellness somehow. But so the candy striper led me into physical therapy, and then physical therapy became my profession at the time. And I had my own business as a physical therapist doing home health care back in the day, like before it was even allowed, I think. I don't even know. I mean,
Early innovator.
whatever. And so, yeah, I even billed insurance back then. It was wild, different times. I got full pay. Anyway, so, but then as I started working as a physical therapist, I was getting a little bored and it felt like I was missing a lot of pieces. So, longer story short, I was living in Australia at the time, and this was 2006, and I fell in love with neurolinguistic programming, which was a nice addition to healthcare, and it's a nice addition to business and education. And so I became an NLP practitioner, which allowed me to see my clients, patients in a different way, a deeper way. And so kind of like a sneaky back behind the scenes trick to get into people's beingness, but I didn't know what was going to open up the doors for me. So I had a mini private practice as an NLP practitioner and did physical therapy. And then, gosh, let's fast forward to 2015, and I was like kind of sick of it all, sick of the healthcare system, sick of the pill popping and the misdiagnosis. And so I started going into health and life coaching on my own. And then I found trauma informed coaching. And then the ultimate was becoming an integrative health practitioner, which now I'm allowed to do functional lab tests for my clients, really find the data of what's happening inside their bodies
Mhm.
instead of just guessing and being like, here's a nice diet. I hope it works for you. So, but yeah, so that's really where it ramped up. And now I serve my clients, mostly women, virtually, and I could do so much with them over, my hour that I work with them and over many months because I have so many more tools.
I love that. So, like starting out in physical therapy, because it sounds like you have a big heart and a love for helping people. And it kind of like naturally brought you along that path of being in the health industry. And it sounded like your grind, if I heard you at a couple different pivots, was I got
Yeah,
bored. There was more to it that I wanted to explore. I felt like I hit an upper limit. And like this has been the case. If you
yeah,
are an entrepreneur, like there are these limitations that we bump up against that are like, ugh, this isn't fulfilling. Or on the other side of like, this is way too much. I'm wearing all the hats. I'm totally being driven
Right.
by my profession, not me making the choices. So I
Right.
heard at a couple different stages you saying, let me explore some new tools. Let me see if there's a way for me to deepen my
Mhm.
ability to serve. And like for you as a person, as you went through some of those growth spurts and hit some of those, bringing those new tools on board, what were some of the things that happened for you personally as you kind of innovated and went up the exponential growth chain?
Oh my goodness. Well, with the NLP, it opened me up to what are our values and beliefs? Like, what are we saying? What's our communication saying to the world, whether it's through our mouths or our hands or our breathing patterns, and being able to kind of sense that with my patients and clients, and also opened up a whole bunch within me that I didn't know was stored within me for many years, which is part of the NLP practice, is like releasing the timelines, the past, and all that stuff. So every step of the way that I sought out something new, I did the work, and boy, it was painful. So there were lots of tears, there were lots of screaming, there were lots of goodbyes to people that really were not meant to be there anymore. And I found new crowds to hang out with. So, and then I shifted, roles in physical therapy. I created, more opportunities to work from home. Thank you, pandemic. And well, thank you, Zoom back in the day too.
Right?
So, I mean, I enjoyed the pandemic, I hate to say, but I
Well,
had
it
lots
gave
of,
us it gave us an opportunity to innovate. And what I'm
yeah,
hearing about,
yeah,
what you did in the growth curve of seeking out the new tools and practicing and learning
yeah.
new disciplines is this is why you might have had sparkles the first time I met you, is that you allowed yourself to be changed by the work. You allowed yourself to integrate all the knowledge and all of your perspective that you were starting to learn and be exposed to, and you
Mhm,
allowed that to inform who you were becoming. So not only were you out there in your career, providing value as a practitioner, adding these tools and, taking on clients in new spaces, but you were also becoming integrated with the work. And, like I love that you were like, it had me addressing who I was hanging out with, who I was
yeah,
spending time with. It had me
mhm,
looking at, what did I have to confront that I was hiding from myself even, you know,
mhm,
and these are the courageous pieces about the becoming that
mhm,
I love about entrepreneurship. To me, being an entrepreneur is
mhm,
probably the number one most important personal development tool I have ever been exposed to, because we see something bigger than ourselves and we
mhm.
allow ourselves to be open and transformed by it. So as we serve people, like their story becomes a part of us. We
Yeah,
start looking for new tools and mechanisms because we're watching people struggle with
yeah.
their limitations. So, you know, I'd venture to guess like you are still in the process of becoming as you're reaching this level of mastery in
Mhm.
what you're doing now.
Oh,
So
sure.
tell me what all of that growth kind of brought to you that you're now deploying as part of your value and resource. You learned a bunch, you changed a bunch, and now that informed your next quantum leap, your next exponential level got unlocked. What does that look like now?
Oh my gosh, I feel I truly give a holistic, like I tell my clients, you're getting an all-inclusive resort type of coaching from me. Because it's I'm addressing all of their sensory needs, so to speak. Like, we're handling mindset, we're handling emotions, we're handling physical therapy, whatever it may be. I could do yoga, but I handle their life situations, different questions and patterns, but I could bring it all together. And we have a protocol that we use called the de-stress protocol, which addresses like your diet, your exercise, your stress, your toxins, your rest, your supplements, your mindset. So it is truly holistic because nothing can be left out anymore. So using all the tools that I have, I can listen to and work with someone and go, okay, would you like to start here? Or could we start here? Or I recommend we start here because, the old saying that we use in our coaching land is how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I have lots of tools in my toolbox now, which is so fun. Um, and as I was going to say to your point before, is I would like to not be living outside my comfort zone for a while because I've stepped out, like that saying, like jump outside your comfort zone. I'm like, can I just take a break, please?
Listen, once you transcend that barrier, it's really difficult to live inside of it anymore. And
Oh my gosh.
you'll keep finding growth objectives and then leaning into the discomfort because I often find myself in coaching sessions saying like what used to be a red flag and a stop sign now is like a green flag and a checker. Like
Nice.
you've arrived at your previous limits that you now, because you've set this goal that is bigger than you've ever been, or it's beyond your current level of experience,
Mhm.
you're watching that edge and you're blowing past it. So we get to redefine what things mean
Mhm.
as we grow and step into that. So and I also love that you're looking at it from a very holistic perspective.
Mhm. Mhm.
You're
Mhm.
getting to have not only, and I think this is where, you know, for healthcare and all of its flaws, I think as we enter this age of disruption and go even more through it, while nothing is going back to normal and everything's up for
Right.
review, I
Right.
think how we perceive
Mhm.
health care and self care is also rapidly evolving to include not only just like, okay, your physical body's over here,
Mhm. Mhm.
your mental state is over here, and your community and your relationships are over here. Like
Right. Right.
everything is part of the equation. And I venture to guess, and one of the guests here in this live studio audience taught me this long ago, that we are entering the most highly technological and highly humane society
Mhm.
humankind's ever seen, but we are currently also demolishing the most inhumane, demoralizing society that humankind's ever built, where we all had to convince ourselves we were parts of machines, we were
Mhm.
not creative beings, we had to sit down, shut up, and screw the screw. And no, you're not creative because that would be a disruption to the industrial
Right.
process. But we're
Right.
waking up to the fact that we can be productive
Mhm.
and whole, and that compartmentalizing stuff, uh high mental health, high physical health, compartmentalizing stuff actually creates more distress because we're
Yeah.
not addressing how they're interconnected. So when you
Yeah.
get the opportunity to see somebody and to
Mhm.
like see them as a whole person, like that doesn't look like your normal diagnostic intake at the doctor's office anymore, does it?
No, not at all. And that's, I mean, yeah, there's the specialists and the specialists and the pills and all the things. Like when I talk to my clients, I'm like, We'll work on that or we'll collaborate, but we're not going that way. We're going inward and figuring out what's your body's wisdom, what's your mind's wisdom, what's going on in your household. And, in our group, we say, let's get a health coach in every household, even if you do nothing with it, because this is really what we need to be learning from kindergarten and
Yes.
like how to take care of ourselves instead of relying on someone outside of ourselves. But
Mm,
yeah, disrupt.
yeah. Remembering that innate knowledge. I love that. So if you were to go back in time for like, let's just say 3 to 5 years ago and go secretly back and give yourself some wisdom, an unfair advantage that will set you up for today to be exponentially more powerful, what would you go back and tell yourself to give yourself that unfair competitive advantage as this world changes rapidly?
Well, my inner wisdom and intuition and guidance was always there, and listen to it, girl, because being part of the system and having learned through system-based approaches, their words were better, their knowledge was better. So I would have said, listen, shut the heck up, stop signing up for another course, another coach, another thing, and go inward because I was full of gifts, but I was trusting on the outside that they knew better. And so, oh, for sure, I would have told myself to stop, slow down, and throw it all away and really just get really quiet, which I did along the way. I got really quiet, spent some time far away from things, and was like, oh, hey, because it always felt, I was like, I know this. And I always knew that, but different things along the way was like, no, you need to learn that, or you need to sign up for this, especially in the online world. Well, we weren't knowing that as healthcare professionals jumping into the online space. That was like a
Mm-hmm.
whole new, we had to get a degree in that.
Right. Oh, and all of these letters that we have after our name, right?
Uh,
I, along my learning journey in my business career path, I started recognizing that I was trained to externalize my self-worth. And
mhm.
that's part of the industrial
Yeah.
schematic is that, when we're taught at a very young age to go to school, there's a certain answer to this question, and you get it right or wrong depending on what the teacher says is the right or wrong answer. But when we're in our creative zone, when we're actually tapping into our purpose and our unique signal, our unique ways of being, there's no prescription anymore. Just
Right.
like babies don't come with a handbook, right? Like we have to figure out parenting as an experiential learning. That truly is what learning has always been. We just fooled ourselves for a long while there that there was something to know and we were going to get tested and graded and
Yep.
externally validated. And
Yes.
when I graduated college, I felt like I was on a train doing 180 miles an hour, and they opened up the door and kicked me out and said, "Good luck with the flight." And I was like, "You just trained me for 15 years to ride a train. What do you mean fly? There's no more tracks. The train disappears and now I'm supposed to have wings? WTF, people." But that, to me, it was like the beginning of my learning, the beginning of
Yeah.
my entrepreneurship, where I got to like look at my upbringing. I got to
Mhm.
look at the ways that I already knew some stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, I had a networking meeting with somebody who was a friend of the family. So we were like business colleagues, but we kind of had some people in common. And he's like, "Why aren't you talking about your experience in family business? You speak business in your sleep. It's your love language. I don't understand why you're not talking about growing up in a family business, because all this other white collar stuff you're doing right now, all your business knowledge is applying, but you're not giving it any credence." And I thought, holy crap, I know more than I think I do. And that,
Right.
again, was another awakening that, yeah, I already have all that I need to move
Mhm.
forward. I can bring
Mhm.
in experts like a health coach to help
Mhm.
me get more fit or to get my mindset right and
Yeah.
take in the right ingredients to help my body thrive. Because,
Yes.
hey, my love language is business. It's not in health. So that's why people kind of reach out and
Yeah.
connect with other collaborators that have a skill set that they don't have, but
Yes.
that has to be divorced from "I am less than" or "I
Oh
am
gosh,
not
yes.
good enough,"
Oh,
because
for sure.
1 + 1 equals way more than two when you're talking about collaborating and leveraging other people's wisdom, no?
No, I love that. Yeah, all of the abundance mindset, that's something I adopted ages ago, and when I sense there's that lack or that competition, I'm like, now, it doesn't have to be that way because we all have beautiful intuitive gifts and we're bringing them to the world." And so, yeah, no, that's so funny. It's kind of I grew up in the Northeast, and I remember getting kicked off and sent out. It's like, "Now go do this." I'm like, "Ugh."
Yeah, yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah.
So I want to just bring home the fact that like the grind for you was the continuing to do when you saw there was more you wanted to learn, more you wanted to
Oh,
become,
sure.
and then choosing new partners, new leaders, people to inform who you were so you could
Yeah.
then reach that exponential
Love
power
that.
and growth for yourself to integrate not only just the doing what you were doing,
Yeah.
but who you were becoming in the process. And I bring up this acronym because this is the methodology that I coach through in the entrepreneur space, where we're all very comfortable talking about what it is that we do. It's like the first
Mhm.
conversation anybody has. "Hi, what do you do?" Right?
Yeah.
But we're very comfortable here.
Mhm.
Starting the conversation with where you are, which I'm sure you do with your clients about,
Mhm.
where is your mindset? Where is your health? What is your perspective? I'm doing this diagnostic of like, what's your playing field? What's your
Right.
chessboard? And what are the pieces that are on it? Your strategy, implementation, and metrics, which everybody's
Mhm.
real comfortable with, but having the conversation go even further and deeper into that 90% of the iceberg below the
Yeah.
surface. Who are the
Yes.
people you're spending time with? And
Right.
do you want to continue? Maybe you need
Right.
to find some new ones. Who are you becoming? What is the leader that you're destined to be? And what
Mhm.
are you doing to show up better, like 1% improvement per day? And then
Mhm. Love
how do
it.
you empower people? How do you add all these things up together? And once
Mhm.
they're all aligned, who is benefiting from this in your, that's obviously you, like you have to take yourself into the equation because we get
Sure.
informed and trained by our work. And then
Yes.
that gets to spill over from a full cup into our
Yep.
clients and then the communities that they're a part of. So this formula is how I
Mhm.
help people to go into that exponential growth. And I love that and I talk a lot about integrating the doing and the being.
Yes. Yes.
This is exactly why,
Mhm.
we're destined to be friends, because I'm finding that you and your perspective and healthcare and in treating the whole person from let's just give you some new tools. You're not broken, let's fix you.
Oh gosh, no.
And so that's what I love about you, Denise. Where can people find you to learn more about you and what you have to offer this world?
Well, I'm out there on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and my website, deniselynmorrison.com. Very easy. That's my name, but you can find me on Google too. Yay. And so I'm there and I love to have chats, please.
Awesome. So go to my LinkedIn and find my friend Denise Lynn Morrison. Go on and then search her out on her website. She's got a lot of awesome information. Denise, thank you for being here on the podcast. And I just wanted to say it's been a pleasure to talk about you and your integrated journey. And I can't wait to share this with the world. We broadcast every single week. Don't miss another episode. Make sure you click like and subscribe and drop us a note in the comments of what you found the most powerful, what you found the most useful from this conversation. I will see you next time, friends. Same bat time, same bat channel. And we'll now go to our live studio audience to have some deeper discussion about how this work is percolating in the world. So thanks a million, and we'll see you soon.